Dubuque's own Bob Martin.
Yes.
A warm welcome for a Dubuque native and 3 other World War II heroes. They are Tuskegee Airmen, the very first African-American fighter pilots. They endured racism in the ranks during World War II to become some of the most decorated and respected pilots in American history.
If they can't make it today with more education, more opportunities, well then they're just lying down on the job. No one to blame but themselves. So when they think of the Tuskegee Airmen, think of some people who tried to succeed and made it.
There were a lot of medals given to the airmen, Tuskegee Airmen, for the Distinguished Flying Cross. You know, he was one of a handful because out of about 992 pilots, 89 got the Distinguished Flying Cross. So he was in a pretty select group. He felt it was a well-deserved and long overdue. But then again, he was like, it was our job. We were supposed to do our job. Dad got a letter where the school said, you know what, we're going to honor Tuskegee Airmen from Iowa. They were trailblazers. They had this monumental fight for a country that didn't appreciate them, and we all sit here kind of enjoying the fruits of their labor and their sacrifices.
Came home, I got out the typewriter and my resume from college, and I started writing letters to companies to try to get hired as an engineer.
So he left and went to Chicago.
And with my war record to add a plus, why I'd have no problem finding a good job.
He had a stack about, I don't know, an inch, 2 inches thick, inch and a half, of rejection letters. Thank you, Mr. Martin, for applying. I'm sorry we don't have any positions available to offer you now. We'll keep your application and resume on file.
And they didn't have to say black, but when they found out I was black, on a couple of applications, by then they could find nothing for me.
He finally got on with the City of Chicago Parks Department as a draftsman. And he thought, well, my foot's in the door, I can fight and find another job. So he does that and gets his professional engineer's license and finally gets a job with the City of Chicago. And what they did was design the street lighting systems for Chicago. You know, how far apart are the poles, what kind of power in the lights, how far apart are the poles, how high up on the pole do we need the lamps. So he did that and was passed over for promotions.
So we went through the interview, and the guy went back to his office, and the next day the boss called me in and said, hey, civil service didn't pass you. Didn't want to give you the job. I said, look, every man who had this position has had this title, and they all haven't passed this examination. Now, I've passed this examination, and if I don't get the title and pay, then I'm going to raise a big stink around here about discrimination in civil service. The guy went back, the next day the word came down, you got the title.
So he did things that he needed to do to keep his family fed, keep a roof over our heads, send his kids to college. But the one thing he would say is, war is not glamorous. You're cold, you're hungry, you're wet, you don't have enough food. If you have food, it's not always hot. And the conditions are dangerous, and you lose your friends. They go off and they don't come back. I remember as a kid, and some of it is that experience of walking in the neighborhood with him when he was president of the neighborhood association. He would know the families. If somebody was sick in the family, he would know, and he would say, oh, let's take some grapes to Mrs. X because her husband's sick, so I'm sure they would like some nice fruit. After the war, he and several friends and friends of friends began meeting. Mostly it was just meeting and drinking and talking about their experiences, and out of that was born Never Letting Us Be Forgotten by educating youth and the public about what we do. So in the Tuskegee Airmen, there's a program called the Young Eagles. Kids can come, and most Tuskegee Airmen chapters now have something where, like I said, they have a plane, they have access, and all you need, kid, is your parents' signature on the line that we can take you up for a flight. He was involved with the Speakers Bureau for his chapter. Schools could say, hey, we need a speaker. Dad was one of those folks who would always sign up and say, I'll go.
Central students say it was an awesome experience to see men who made history but were mentioned infrequently in their textbooks.
Dubuque's own Bob Martin.
The Tuskegee Airmen are the famous all-African-American World War II fighter pilot unit. These veterans talked to the students about their experiences and heard more about the student research project and book focusing on their accomplishments.
Willing to work to do the best. And that is the alternative to try for excellence.
What would Dad say? Dad would say what he always says. What's the fuss? I mean, he was so humble. People were always saying, that was a great thing you did. Let's give you some recognition. He was just very humble. I didn't set out to get awards. This is a passion of mine. You know, he wanted to learn how to fly. Then he was going to be the best fighter pilot America had ever seen. And I had an experience. I survived it. What's the big deal?